Hello everybody, welcome to a little bit of a lore tidbit episode of the World of Warcraft Warlords of Draenor beta. My name is Necroxis, and last time after the Ashrine episode I said we would be going to Tanaris, and for those of you who have been paying attention to the leaks and, you know, what's happening on the beta, already know what I'm about to talk about, but those of you who didn't, we have an interesting situation developing because Blizzard has, teased once again the Infinite Dragonflight storyline. And they've done through, of course, there's the connection with Kairos, and I'll talk about him more towards the end of this episode. But we knew that the Infinite Dragonflight supposedly was ended when we beat Murozond, but based on Murozond, of course, is the corrupted form of Nozdormu, the aspect of time, who is no longer an aspect, really. But we, of course, know that even though we supposedly beat them, time is strange. Time-based magics are strange, and who knows what's going on. But we know that the Infinite Dragonflight definitely is not gone. It's definitely not gone. For those of you guys who read War Crimes or listened to my video on War Crimes, you'll know Warlord Zael's forces rode in on Infinite Dragons, supplied to them by none other than Kairos himself. And Kairos, Chromie tells us that Kairos took the mindset of after the Dragonflights have lost their power, certain bronze dragons decided they should use what power they had left to manipulate history and time to their own benefit. And of course these end up becoming the Infinite Dragonflight dragons, who end up wanting to change time for the better, for the worse. Who knows? I have my own opinions on, whether or not the Horde coming to Azeroth is actually a good or a bad thing, but that's a different video for a different time. So, Tanaris comes, and you're probably like, Necroxis, just tell us what's going on already. This is, it looks like the Infinite Dragonflight is at least scouting out the Caverns of Time, or they are going to be trying to begin an attack on the Caverns of Time, because we have this. We have a portal, a time portal, that looks identical to the portals that you see when you do the Dark Portal 5-man, when you have to protect Medivh. This is an Infinite Dragonflight portal, and it is, as you can see in the distance, the Caverns of Time. So I don't know what's happening yet. I don't know if things are going to be added to this, or this is just a little tidbit to kind of tease us based on the Infinite Dragonflight. But let's see if he's back. Outside of the rare, who used to be a bronze dragon but then became an Infinite Dragonflight, also added in Warlords are a bunch of little... Let's see if there's one over here that I saw last time when I was flying over here. Somewhere. We got Infinite Whelplings that are new. These guys are now appearing around the Caverns of Time. There is... Where is he? I know he's here. Infinite Vanguard. This is also new. Oops. No, come on. I don't want to fight you yet. He doesn't drop anything. At least I don't think. But he is an Infinite Vanguard. This is most definitely new. He is, looks like he's directly scouting out the Caverns of Time, doesn't it? So this guy's here. Let's just kill him to see if he drops anything. I don't think he does, but let's just check. No, doesn't drop anything. So we have an Infinite Vanguard here. There are also more Infinite Whelplings inside the Caverns of Time. So, I'm not going to fly all the way down there. I already went down there before I started recording. Just take my word for it. This is all a very interesting scenario, because anybody who watched the interview that Mickey Nielsen did with Jesse Cox, and I don't know now, see, my problem is when Blizzard tells us two different things, I don't know what to believe. In the interview with Jesse Cox, we were told the Infinite Dragonflight storyline is not going anywhere. Like, they did not make Kairos a thing to bring up this story or potential story. But then we have stuff like this, which is very much teasing Infinite Dragonflight. And then we have Kairos himself. And for those of you who have not read the short story Hellscream, I strongly recommend you do. It's the newest short story. I was going to make a video on it, but I was sick when it came out, blah, 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 blah. Moral story is, it's a very good short story. Outside of... when I ignore the fact that they're doing massive retcon, or I guess hand-waving away potential retcons, because basically in the story, this is only in the first page, so I'm not really spoiling it. Kairos tells Garrosh, it takes place right after they arrive, Kairos and Garrosh, at the new Draenor, the alternate Draenor. It happens right then. Kairos tells Garrosh he specifically picked this Draenor, so there are going to be different things. So they basically have hand-waved away the confliction in histories. So now they don't have to explain why Nerzul's wife, Rulkan, is not dead. They don't have to explain why Kil'jaeden didn't go to Nerzul first and went right to Gul'dan. But more interestingly, and dealing with the Infinite Dragonflight, Kairos, as he begins monologuing at a point in the story, and I'm not going to spoil what happens really, but he begins talking about how he will use the powers of Draenor to become more than time itself. And he specifically begins, during his monologue, talking about becoming the infinite, becoming infinite. He talks repeatedly about using this power and becoming infinite. And that's definitely the Infinite Dragonflight implication there. Of course it is. It's not even an implication. He flat out says it. So, I wanted to show you guys this, and then in a second, I'm going to go back to Nagrand, and I will just say, if you haven't read the Hellscream story yet, pause the video now, go read it, and come back, because what I'm about to show you is going to spoil, and we're going to talk about what happens in that short story. So, pause it now if you haven't gone to read it yet. Go and read it, and come back. But for everyone else, here we go. And so here we are in Nagrand. Those of you probably guessed what I'm going to show you. But, first of all, that story was crazy, wasn't it? A lot of action happened on the first page. And I'm going to show you exactly what happened. So here we are in Nagrand. Up here, in the time-lost glade. And what do we find? A dead orc. Kairos. So, those of you, like I said, hopefully you've read the story by now, but if not, I spoiled what happens in the first page. Kairos gets murdered by Garrosh, using the same shard of glass from the Hourglass of Time that they had left. And, like I said, right before, I didn't say this part, but right before Garrosh kills Kairos, he's monologuing and says, "We will be limited by nothing, not even time. The possibilities are infinite. I will become infinite." And then he is killed. So here we go. There are definitely hints, inklings of the Infinite Dragonflight. We see him come up again in the legendary quest chain of 6.0, basically. He comes back again. I'm not going to tell you how until we actually can see the video of it, but he is back for a little bit more. Kairos isn't done yet. But it is very interesting that he's in his orc form, because like the story says, he didn't have enough power while he was dying to turn into his dragon form. So he ends up getting stuck in his orc form and gets killed. But hopefully you guys have enjoyed this look into the Infinite Dragonlight stories and like the little tidbits we're getting here and there in Warlords of Draenor. Like I said earlier, Mickey Nielsen in the interview with Jesse Cox said that they don't really plan on going anywhere with the Infinite Dragonflight storyline. But I think at this point I can't believe him. I think he's lying on purpose. They're setting up too many things for the Infinite storyline not to happen. Between Infinite Dragons showing up in war crimes, to the Infinite Dragonflight portal showing up in Nagrand, to Infinite Dragonlight forces showing up by Caverns of Time, to Kairos himself and his shenanigans talking about becoming the Infinite. There's too much hinting going on here for me to disregard all of it. I will be very disappointed if we don't see something happen with the Infinite Dragonflight. Like I've said in several different places, I think they are very, very cool villains, because they're very similar to Wrathion, albeit less developed. As in, they're doing stuff that not necessarily is seen as evil. Like, some stuff they do definitely is evil. But some stuff, it's definitely on the fence. And I really like that about them. So hopefully we develop them more. Because I think they're far more interesting. And villains like that and far more interesting than just Grom Hellscream, who's just like, "Rawr, I'm gonna kill everybody because I'm the leader of the Iron Horde and blah." I don't find that kind of an interesting villain at all. I didn't find it interesting with him. I didn't find it interesting with Garrosh. I didn't find it interesting with the Lich King. I didn't find it interesting with Deathwing. Illidan, we're not even going to talk about the wreck of a story that BC was. But I'm very disappointed that all of the final expansion bosses seem to be this kind of, "Rawr, I'm the bad guy, I'm going to kill everybody, come stop me." Whereas the more interesting villains, or even anti-heroes, like, I can't even call Wrathion a villain because he's not. He's definitely an anti-hero. They are much more nuanced, and I really like that. So there we go, guys. This was a little lore insight tidbit video. Let me know what you think about this and your possible theories about how the Infinite Dragonflight could return in the comments below. But until then, we will finally be continuing the Grand. We're going to be doing the Ring of Trials. So until then, guys, keep on keeping on with the lore, because even though I have my issues with it, I still find it very fascinating. And yeah, until then, farewell.